What are you hoping to get out of today, Matt, with these guys?
Just a good competitive practice. Same thing we do against our people, except it's good to go against an unfamiliar opponent. It makes these guys really trust their rules. I think it tests our rules. Certainly from a structural standpoint on the defensive side of the ball, they run a different defense. It's a 34 defense in their base. And then offensively, they're going to give us some different concepts that our defense has not seen. So I think all in all, it's going to be a good competitive practice. I know, just being able to practice some of the kickoff stuff, I think will be good for our team, both teams. And so we just want a good competitive practice and want to keep it, safe, just like we do with our own group, and want to eliminate all fighting if possible.
How many times you give him that speech?
A lot, ad nauseum. So I've already vomited over one question. I'm sure I'll want to vomit over some of these fighting questions here.
Yeah, you've done a ton of these joint practices. What has made a successful one in the past versus an unsuccessful one? Is it drills you can have the guys do?
I think it's all about just trying to get productive work and cutting all the BS, all the fighting. It naturally, it's football. There's going to be competitiveness. There's going to be chippiness. But can you keep your composure? I think that's part of the beauty of the game. When you're in a real life game situation, it does get chippy. It does get testy. Guys start to talk, but can you keep your composure?
Is that why there's one practice versus two?
Not necessarily, but I do think that a lot of teams around the league are going to kind of that format. We did it a year ago with Cincinnati, and so looking forward to seeing how it goes today.
Before the trip to Cincinnati last year, you talked a lot about how an extended trip this time of year can build camaraderie. Why does that camaraderie matter, say January, what you build this week?
I think it matters the entire season. I mean, because adversity is going to come in some form or another, and the teams that typically can stay close together, stay connected, can weather that adversity and get out the other side of it.
Younger team too as well, Matt. Even last week in Cleveland, some of you guys were saying it was fun to travel again. It was fun to get on the plane again.
Yeah.
Is that part of it for these guys, doing this as a group?
Yeah, I think so. I think, last night we had a team dinner at Shanahan's, and tonight we'll have an opportunity. We're taking the team to Topgolf. So just moments to try to connect outside of, football. So I think that's important.
Matt, how well do you know Sean Payton, and how have your conversations been with him leading into the starting practice?
Yeah, it's been great. We've had great communication. I think we both have the same expectations, the same rules for our teams, and so just looking to get a good productive practice.
When you have a young quarterback that maybe hasn't played a lot, how much can you know about their readiness level before they play, and how much do you just have to sort of see it once it's
Well, I think these are great. This is a great opportunity to, again, go against maybe an unfamiliar opponent in regards to you're not seeing the same stuff every day in practice. So I think anytime you get these opportunities, these are as valuable as the preseason games.
With that in mind, with the starters expected to get the workload in today and not Sunday, how much emphasis do you put on making sure that this practice is one of the best of the year?
Yeah, if the guys don't get their number of reps that we're looking for, then they're going to play in the game. That's just the bottom line. And in order to do that, you got to be out on the field. In order to be on the field, you got to adhere to the rules. So that's what we expect.
Mike Shanahan obviously highly regarded around here. This year, just kind of speak to the influence he's had on you.
Oh, Coach Shanahan's had a tremendous impact. He gave me really my first position job with Washington in 2010 as a quarterback coach, and I learned so much from him, not only just X's and O's wise, but how to manage a staff, the attention to detail that he would put into it is like nobody I've ever been around. And so I think all of us that we had when you look back at it, we've had a lot of guys that have gone on to be head coaches, and I think it's because we learned the right way from Coach Shanahan.
Was Mike there when you had dinner last night?
He was not. I was hoping he was going to be there, but I think he had a prior commitment.
Do you sense that this means more to Emmanuel based on his personal history? Wilson,
What about it?
with his history in Denver?
Yeah, I'm not as familiar. I don't know what you're getting at.
Going back to Mike Shanahan, I think we usually think of the scheme when we talk about your roots in coaching. When you talk about managing a staff, what was it about him in terms of managing a staff that you pulled away and kind of carried in your career?
Well, just his expectations. Like, you knew, and his level of detail. Like, you better be on it, otherwise you were going to feel him. And I think I've never been around somebody that could focus as long as he could. I remember back in 2012 when we're getting ready, we knew we were going to draft Robert Griffin. We're getting ready to implement the zone read, and we didn't want to talk to anybody around the league about it. And so we just would sit in there for hours, and we had this cut up that was a couple hundred plays long, and it was Baylor's offense, it was Carolina Panthers with Cam Newton, and it was Denver actually with what they were doing with Tebow. And I'll never forget, we'd watch it all, and I mean, we were in there for a couple hours, and everybody's like somewhat exhausted from the process, and he's like, yeah, let's run it back to the top. And we all looked at each other like, how is this guy still doing this? But yeah, he had some stamina when it came to watching tape, and he was so thorough in the draft process, like with how he evaluated players, and I just think there was a ton of lessons that we took from our time there.